I used to fight with the girl in the mirror. I used to try and flip my thoughts and distract myself to feel good as I assumed that I was feeling loved and adored. And all of it I was doing from a place of longing and desperation. So, how did I finally change my relationships with my specific person and other relationships as well? In this video, I talk about how you can gain the relationships you truly desire, yes, even with that specific person, without trying to change your thoughts or emotions. So stay tuned. Hi guys, my name is Anila Reddy from the Vibe Project. Clay Mera and I thought it would be fun to share practical tools on how to live the reality that you really desire every day based on my experiences with the teachings of Neville Goddard and other non-duality, meaning consciousness teachings. So each time I was insecure or anxious about getting the approval of another person that I loved or wanted to change their behavior, I would put a lot of pressure, or I would really try hard to focus to change my thoughts or emotions. And I would try to change these things with an agenda of changing the other person and bettering my relationships. And one day, everything, including my relationships in my life, changed dramatically when the way I approached life changed. And I'm going to share that in this video with one activity or question towards the end of the video. So keep watching. So do you need to try and change your thoughts or emotions to gain the relationships that you really desire? No, not at all. And here's how you can do that. And I'll share one activity with you towards the end of the video to solidify a new change or a new perspective regarding relationships and the way you deal with your thoughts or emotions. You see, you are not your thoughts. You are infinitely bigger than anything that is definable. You don't need to dismantle your fears, negative thoughts, or negative emotions. Because from this stance, now you're just looking for a tool to make yourself feel better as a way of avoiding or escaping your negative thoughts or emotions. So that's a way of escaping your fears. So you don't need to do that. So your fears are coming up because everything in your life is already in perfect accord, in perfect harmony. If you weren't interested to know the truth of your true nature, you would have successfully avoided your fears or your negative thoughts or emotions. And you would have avoided them either by watching something funny on Netflix, or maybe reaching for a bag of chips, or going for a stroll as a way to avoid feeling your negative thoughts or emotions. And we've been doing this avoiding our whole life. And we've been avoiding them as a way to avoid fully feeling them. So we avoid facing our feelings by either turning towards multiple techniques or any technique, by constantly looking for validations of our desires, approval from others, or reassurance or some sort of sign from the physical world. So these are also some ways of avoiding facing our feelings. In this way, we begin to hold another person or the circumstance. In this way, we hold another person or the circumstance responsible for the seeming issue at hand. When we examine further, we realized that it was our own insecurity or anxiety that was responsible for the way we perceived and experienced life. And we begin to realize that if we pay attention to these negative emotions or thoughts, they reveal to us our own assumptions about that person or the circumstance, and we realize that our assumptions or perspectives are not serving us well. That's all we're doing. We're just checking if it's serving us well or if these perspectives and assumptions are not serving us well. So the fact that you're currently feeling these emotions and allowing these emotions and thoughts to come up just as they are, now you're behaving in the way your true self or consciousness or love or God, whichever term resonates with you, now you're behaving the way your true self would. And now you're giving yourself permission to experience the wholeness that you are, which is love or consciousness. When you're taking the perspective of the one that's observing your emotions and feelings, now you're not getting entangled in your feelings. Now you're not getting entangled in the stories supporting those feelings. So instead, what you're doing now is you're allowing these emotions to surface just as they are without trying to get rid of them in any shape or form. This is one of the surest way to know that you're already the person you desire to be, which is your true self, which is the consciousness or love, the self that is already fulfilled. Because as the person you desire to be, you would not try to get rid of your thoughts or emotions, because you'd know that as the person you desire to be, that your thoughts or emotions can never get in the way of experiencing successful relationships or specific desires. So you wouldn't be interested in suppressing your emotions or thoughts. Instead, you'd allow them to surface. If you feel like you need to do something about these negative feelings, even after you're aware of them, the let's do something feeling or thought comes from the same state of avoiding your fears or your emotions, the same state of avoiding your feelings. So allow your feelings or thoughts to come up just as they are. So just like the sky is not interested in ending the thunder, even the desert sand is never interested in ending the mirage that appears on its sand. The closer you go to the mirage, meaning the closer you go to the water that seems to appear on the sand, which is a mirage, the mirage ends and you discover that only the desert sand was ever present. And so the mirage is revealed to have always been the desert sand. So that's who you truly are, the desert sand in this analogy. Similarly, the more inwards you go and allow yourself to fully feel your feelings, the feelings fade. Because the more inwards you go towards your true self, which is consciousness or love, the real face of these anxious emotions or thoughts is revealed to be your true self, which is consciousness or God or love. It only takes your decision to allow your emotions or thoughts to come up as they are. Now, you're not trying to accept these emotions or your fears or your thoughts, nor are you trying to resist these emotions or thoughts. You're just allowing them to pass through you. So all you're doing is not doing what this fear or these negative emotions or thoughts want you to do. So the next time you reach for any activity in these moments of fear, anger, or frustration, whatever the negative emotions or thoughts are in you in that moment, just pause for a moment. Just pause for a moment before you share your peace of mind with anybody else. Pause for a moment before you try and take any activity that justifies your frustrated or your negative feelings. Because if you don't, you'll simply satisfy your frustration, anger, or your irritation, whatever those negative thoughts or emotions might be, with some kind of action. And now your emotions and thoughts become dormant again, meaning they get suppressed, only looking to be released in another situation, in another person, because of something else again and again. And now these unacknowledged, frustrating, or anxious emotions or reactions, these reactions show up in your life in the form of triggers. So if you want to do any activity or action, do the activity or action after welcoming your feelings in as you go about your day-to-day life. And when you address your emotions just by allowing them to come up, the activity that you wanted to do, whether it's work related or fun related, whatever the case may be, that activity itself might change. Earlier, you might have been looking to escape into the woods or watch something funny or take a stroll in order to feel better. But now, after welcoming your feelings in, you might choose a different activity. Maybe you'll read a book, maybe you'll go for a swim, or even choose the same activity. But now you'll no longer perform the activity as a way to escape your thoughts or emotions or as a way to make yourself feel better. But now you're doing this activity for the sake of enjoying it, for the sake of having fun with it. And when you're doing these activities for the fun of it, because you want to, because you're not avoiding facing anything, now you are in that state of fulfillment. Now you're coming from the place of knowing that you're already fulfilled. When you keep acknowledging your frustrations, anxiety, irritation, whatever those emotions or thoughts may be, now those patterns, those negative loop-like patterns stop showing up in your life. When those patterns stop showing up, now automatically you stop doubting yourself. You stop wondering if you're doing something wrong or if you need to do something specific to attain or gain your desire. Now you'll also stop trying to reach for some higher level or get to someplace else, and you begin to realize that you've always been this fulfilled, whole being experiencing wonderful relationships. From this stance, you know your true nature, where you lose your defenses, because now you realize The world never was, never will be, and never has been your enemy or rival. Because now you realize that your frustrations or irritation or anger, whatever those negative emotions or thoughts were, they were coming up as a result of a protective mechanism, because these emotions or thoughts feel that you will feel better if you do a certain action or a certain activity. And so you realize that the actions or the activities that you were doing were done to satisfy your anxiety or whatever negative emotion, and that this was a temporary satisfaction. So it's not about suppressing your emotions or thoughts. It's about allowing them to move through you. Then the specific things that you truly desire happen naturally, and you begin to live a satisfying and fulfilling life. When we suppress our emotions, it often feels as though we crossed a big hurdle or overcame a huge obstacle, and we conclude that we are strong. But all the while, we were just feeding our pain or fears or anxiety by pushing them away or by shrugging them aside in different ways. Your thoughts and emotions are looking to go home. They're looking to go back to your true nature, which is love or consciousness. Remember, your thoughts, like you, like your human self, stem from that same consciousness or love. So they're looking to go back home, just like your human self, to that consciousness or love. They're looking to go back to that nurturing mother, meaning that love or consciousness that you truly are. So they're looking to be met instead of being pushed away, or instead of trying to suppress or hide or deflect or defend or flip them. Would love ever push away thoughts or negative emotions? No, it wouldn't. Love wouldn't try to distract itself from these emotions or thoughts or try to get rid of them in any way. So once you allow your stories to move through you, meaning when you play the role of the observer and allow these thoughts and emotions to come up or surface without trying to modify them, now you're allowing these thoughts and emotions to fade. This is how you accept that your true nature is God or consciousness or love automatically. And hence, you automatically accept that everything is working out in your favor, because now you're no longer afraid that your negative emotions or your negative thoughts will come true. And now you're no longer afraid of anything, and you're no longer afraid that anything that was once seemingly in opposition to your desires will come true. Now your head will stop getting in your way of this favorable, effortless, specific unfolding of exactly what you want. That's when every specific person or event or situation changes to work in harmony with what we truly want. And so everything works out perfectly. For now, I want you to ponder on this question. Who are you without the story of, I need to change my thoughts or emotions? How does that now feel? Who are you without the story of, I need to be trying harder? Who are you without the story of, I need to make an effort to make sure that my desires come true. Who are you without the story of, I need to be careful about what I think or what I feel? Experience that now. Personally, when I pondered on these questions, I realized that I've always been free and fulfilled and living a life of true adventure. And so the world and its people reflected the same back to me. Yes, even that specific person. In my next video, I'm going to elaborate on this question further, and I'm going to share another activity to experience fulfilling relationships with people and with life. So if you like this video, hit the like button. Be sure to turn on the bell icon to get regular updates on activities and step-by-step tools on how to live the reality and the specific desires that you truly want in life. So see you next time.